Easier
just
for
started.
me.
Yep.
Hey guys, welcome to the Unnamed Cybersecurity Talk. Bob, this is Chris and Carl,
Yep.
and I don't know where Matt is this time, but Chris and I are actually on the road this week, and we're in our little phone booths at the event. So,
They're
some
little
crappy lighting,
confessionals.
but here we are.
We're on hotel Wi-Fi, so if we break up or anything, sorry. That's our confession for right now.
So yet another cybersecurity event for us, and lots of good stuff. Anyway, we were talking in the green room, and there was a huge data breach announced for a law firm, small law firm, only what was it, 6 to 12 people, and now they're on the wrong side. They're potentially on the wrong side of a class action suit. Chris, you got some of the details?
Yeah. Change my camera on. All right. There's a group out there called Chilin. They're Russian speaking. Why they use a Chinese name, I'm not entirely sure on that one, but that's what they're called. Their ransomware is called Agenda. And yeah, they victimized these guys back in March, allegedly. They were posted on their dark website in April. And for some reason, it was updated in July, which is kind of weird that they were posted twice. So I'm a little concerning about that.
Two different groups meeting in there at the same time, maybe?
It was the same group. They just posted twice for whatever reason. And now they removed the original one and they updated it in July. So I don't know if they had been threatening them to release the data. So basically, Chilin, their ransomware as a service group, they sell to affiliates. Affiliates earn 80% of the ransom payment of less than $3 million. And if it's more than $3 million, the affiliate gets 85% of the ransom payment.
So a little incentive to make sure that your ransom payment is above $3 million.
Yeah, man, that extra 5 points. Let's go. But the way that this works is typically their initial access into the company is going to be through valid accounts. So they found like accounts that were leaked, so they know a username and password, or they will do like some level of social engineering. So they'll trick somebody into giving up access to an account. Once they get into your network, which if they have stolen accounts, a law firm, probably VPN, maybe it could be something else, but if they have VPN that's exposed to the internet, it has valid accounts, it doesn't have multi-factor authentication, pretty easy way to get into a company. But anyway, once they're in there, they establish persistence. So they'll do like scheduled tasks, they'll do auto start execution, things like that. And in this case, what they did is they moved laterally throughout their entire company, and they basically exfiltrated about 5,000 files. So smaller than what we typically see. Yeah.
Really small. Yeah. I mean, we're talking, the last few cases we've been talking about have been like 80,000, 100, couple 100,000 millions of records. And here we're talking about 100 clients that generated 5,000 records. Of course, it's the most sensitive files.
Well, it's also mostly PDFs and documents. So it actually ends up being about 17 gigabytes. So really not that much to exfiltrate. But still 5,000 files of PDFs and documents for people, pretty crazy. I did my little sleuthing that I do, or allegedly did. I'm in confessional, so I better not lie. And the data is still out there. The data that they got stolen from them is still available for, if you know where to look, you can find the data. So they're in the middle of this. What was it? They've got a class action lawsuit against them now for at least $5 million. They're claiming at least $5 million in damages. 4 people. Mm-hmm. That's what I saw. Vermont had Carl, you came up with that. You found the Vermont data breach notification that was sent out.
Yep.
So it's a typical data breach notification. We found suspicious activity in our network environment. We shut things down. We hired a third party. By the way, here's some credit monitoring for.
Here's 12 months.
Charge for for 12. Oh, it's only 12 months, not even 2 years.
12 months. Have a nice day and go away.
Yeah. And then, oh, by the way, you should be really vigilant on looking at your credit, making sure that, you're not going to be
for the rest of your life.
Identity theft, right? Because Social Security numbers were part of the stolen information. It's kind of crazy.
They were trusting the states. They were trusting the states attorney.
Trusting the states, yeah. So it's all the.
So I skimmed through some of those folders, and it was like client client bank account PDFs were sitting in there, and God knows what else.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think
And that data is never going to go away.
No, and this is on the heels of NPD with their 2.9 billion records that I made a video on, but we can have a deeper conversation about that later. But it's like once that cat's out of the bag, it's like you got to deal with it for the rest of your life. I think I said this in the video that I made about NPD. We have to get to a point where social security numbers are not used to validate, or there's a mechanism where they're temporarily used and never stored.
Yeah, there's a few people who feel that same way. I was just talking to somebody who's pretty high up in the HIPAA world, and they were saying exactly the same thing as you are.
We haven't seen any real reports on what actually happened. This could be a simple case of no MFA again.
Yeah,
happens every day, and we know this was a small law firm. They probably, we see it all the time. People are like, oh, I don't want to do MFA. It's going to slow my people down. It's going to inconvenience them. In this case, they're now, I don't know what's ultimately going to happen with this law firm. It was a 50-year-old law firm. Are they going to survive it? Who knows?
I mean, look, even if they get the there's two things that are really interesting I wanted to bring up. First of all, everybody thinks it's like the big stories that we talk about that are devastating. It won't happen to me. This is 100 clients. And for most small businesses, 100 clients represents the cachet of their business. And to have those relationships just crapped out because now, these guys are obviously upset enough that they've gone ahead and gotten other counsel to sue them. So their relationships have been nuked. Let's talk about it from this point of view. But I did want to show this one thing because I brought this up in the search in the green room. We keep on telling you how bad it is. Once you get breached, it affects your business. Here's a business that's the Wakes Group. It's the Wax Law Group in Parsippany. You can search. It's on law.com. And when you go ahead and you do a Google search, right after you get through the sponsor links, right on page 1, number one thing, law firm was hacked. So here you are. You're a new client. You're deciding you want to put your family's assets with an attorney, and a friend of yours says, "Go to the Wax Group." And they, like everybody else, we're going to Google them. And what's the first story that's going to show up? Now, in a year or two, will this be down? Probably, if they do enough SEO and whatnot. But it's going to take a while for that to come down, and that's going to affect them right now in the interim. And their cash flow is already interrupted because 100 of their best clients are no longer their clients. And I'm sure that there's some part of them that's like saying, "How am I going to pay for this?" Hopefully, they have deep enough reserves and they have enough insurance and a war chest. But this stuff they probably never planned for this because if they didn't plan for the breach, they probably didn't plan for what would happen after the breach.
Absolutely.
But again, like you said, it's a 12 computer environment. This is a small business. This is not a large law firm, and we see this all the time. And unfortunately, they're making the news because there's a class action lawsuit against them, and a lot of stuff will come out in discovery, and we're going to see what exactly happened if this ever goes to actual court. Maybe they'll settle, before it gets there, just to bury the information and everything like that. But I think the thing about it is like, I spent a lot of time looking at these ransomware groups. I spent a lot of time looking at these ATPs in general and a lot of their websites. A majority of the customers or their victims are small companies.
Yeah,
it's not very many large companies. Yeah, you'll see them every once in a while get popped for a large company, and those are the ones that really make the news. But like, if you actually look on their pages, most of them are small. Most of them are, 5 to maybe 50 users. Most of them, because they have less security, they have less. They don't
lower hanging fruit for them.
Yeah, they don't understand the risks that they go. They make their buying decisions sometimes on price. They don't make their buying decisions on what they actually need to protect the business. And unfortunately, this is something that can happen. So yeah, what are they going to do long term? I mean, they're attorneys. They'll probably be fine. They'll figure something out. I'm sure they had good. Hopefully they had insurance. But they obviously need to make changes for like how they operate their business. They have to make different decisions. I'm not gonna go out there and download all their data because like I don't obviously want that. But like,
no,
I mean it's still up. So I mean anybody can go out there if they know where to look and find it. So
I mean, put this in perspective. The New York bar association was hacked in 2019, and their data is still up. All that data for 5 years, so that's what, almost 6 years from now, 6 years
Yeah.
ago. So
Yeah,
that's
it's
how
probably-
long this stuff doesn't go away. What's that?
I said data stays forever. It's not going to go away.
Yeah, unless we
So
get
anyway-
Governments on that particular case actually went in to try and shut down servers, and they did shut some of these servers down, but it just gets moved around.
So I think the big key here for sorry.
No, I was going to say, what's your takeaway? We got to get back to the conference.
Yeah.
You got to get you guys out of the confessionals.
I'm afraid what I'm going to confess. But the big takeaway with this is like, it didn't take me very long to find out all the information that they had. It didn't take me very long to see the data that was leaked. The lawyers that are in this situation are going to find that too. They're going to have investigators. They're going to find the same stuff. So, is your reputation worth it? That's a question I would ask. Is your business worth it? Because lawyers can probably survive. Doctors can probably survive if they have a private practice that gets hacked. But if you started your business and you've been using it and you've been doing business for, I don't know, 10, 15 years, and you're not a profession like that, like a high paying profession, what happens? Think about that. Are you prepared for it? What happens? It's time to make hard decisions.
Assess your risk. Know what's going on. Talk to your people, and don't be afraid to engage with additional resources to check and double check that you are secure. So.
Absolutely.
Find somebody that's a professional and vet them.
There's a couple things you don't DIY. You don't do your own root canals or your own brain surgery. And yeah, some of the stuff that we do may sound simple, but you need an expert who's going to go through and find all these spots that you're not going to look at, because the one that you don't look at is the one that can nail you.
Yep. I think we'll call that a wrap, and catch you guys next week. Well, Chris and I should be back in our regular locations then. And
my boring white room wall with stuff behind me versus a confessional.
Assuming I actually get a plane flight home, so that'll be the
You're
next.
Fly United. We're going to pray for you, brother.
At least we're not doing it from the plane. Hey guys, have a good week.